Hey guys, Adrian Clarke here. Let's break down Arsenal 2, Villarreal 3, shall we? A disappointing result for the Gunners. A match Arsenal largely dominated, but they were punished 3 times on the counter by the La Liga side. Let's get to the goal, shall we, and talk tactics and what needs to improve for Arsenal moving forwards. Mikel Arteta spoke afterwards about not defending the big spaces well enough, and that's absolutely spot on. Let's go goal by goal in chronological order, shall we? First up, the ball gets switched to Miles Lewis-Skelly for the first goal. And for me, the biggest problem is what happens next. And what we see is Mikel Merino, who otherwise had a pretty good game, just get drawn close to Miles Lewis-Skelly. He's looking to cover the left back. He gets very tight to him, probably too tight. Gabriel Martinelli has eyes on the ball as well. He's sort of caught ball watching a little bit. And then one of the Villarreal players makes a run from deep inside Martinelli that goes completely unnoticed. Now, Christian Norgard is on the other side of the box. He's man marking somebody else. The centre backs are occupied. So really, you're looking at Merino and Martinelli just getting drawn towards the ball. The pass is slipped inside. The guy has a free shot and it comes off the post. And then what happens is the ball comes back in, and you could probably look at Kivior and say, can he put his foot through the ball and clear it? Can Miles Lewis-Skelly just work a little bit harder to get back goal side of Nicolas Pepe, who ends up tapping it into the empty net? So it's a messy goal. But really, I think it comes down to a little bit of sharpness and awareness of the players getting sucked towards the man on the ball rather than looking around just to see if any runners are popping up elsewhere. The second goal is very, very similar. In this situation, the ball gets played out to the left wing and the striker drags William Saliba pretty close to Ben White. So that creates a massive hole between himself and Jakub Kivior. Now, Kivior should probably see that and just come across and shrink that gap a little bit if he can. But that's not really the main issue here. It's the left back. The left back makes a really clever arced run into the space that's vacated between the two centre backs, and it's a reverse pass that slips him in. And again, you're probably looking at Bukayo Saka, the wide player. Can he see him? Can he track that run? If he's caught on his heels, which can happen, used to be a winger myself, didn't always, get my tracking back absolutely spot on. Then you've got to pass it on. And I think what happened here is Nwaneri, again, a good game. He's looking at the player, and the player just rakes a run inside him, and he's away. And no one really reacts quickly enough. And again, from there, it's a little bit messy. It's a good save from David Raya, and they score from the rebound. But again, it's a runner that really isn't tracked, popping up unexpectedly on the inside. So Arsenal have to be much, much better in those situations moving forwards. What happened for the third goal? Well, we're on top of them. Absolutely. We've locked them in. We're on the edge of the box. We've got a lot of players in advanced positions. Miles Lewis-Skelly's tight to his winger. He's pretty much in central midfield. And Declan Rice goes to press the man on the ball. It's on the edge of the D, really. What happens is Rice dives in. They beat him with a clever piece of skill. And then you're looking at a big, wide, cavernous space in the left-back area because Miles Lewis-Skelly has pushed in. It's still a 2v1, and Arsenal should be comfortable. It shouldn't be a problem. But Gabriel Magalhaes has been out for a long, long time. He's a little bit rusty. And I think he gets slightly flustered in the moment, gets caught in two minds. I think he tries to play offside instead of tracking the run from Danjuma, who makes a really good run, actually. He arcs his run into the channel. And Gabriel, because he's committed himself to playing offside, is nowhere. He's slightly dozing, I guess. And then it's up to Mosquera on the cover. He shows a good turn of foot, to be fair. Really, really quick, but he can't get there. And I tell you what, it's a heck of a finish. It really is. From Danjuma past Kepa, absolutely no chance. But again, it's the shape of the Arsenal team, really, isn't it? And it's that fragility to counter-attacks. Now, moving forwards, what I would expect, if it is a 2v1, I think Arsenal should be able to handle it. But I think Miles Lewis-Skelly at times might just have to temper his enthusiasm to get forward and just sit into a more more pragmatic position. But even so, I do think once Gabriel Magalhaes gets up to speed, he deals with that run, no problem, and they don't score the goal. So look, we've broken down the 3 goals there, and I think that they're problems that Arsenal can fix moving forward. And in my opinion, it's better that Arsenal make the mistakes in this match where it really doesn't matter at all than against Manchester United or Liverpool and teams like that. It will actually, hopefully, focus the minds as to what they need to improve on. Moving forwards, right, let's talk quickly about set pieces. I'm going to get to my main men later. And we'll talk about some of the positives. We'll get to the stats as well. But I just wanted to mention set pieces. Specifically, the goal that Arsenal scored and Christian Norgard on his first game at Emirates Stadium for the Gunners. It was a deep corner from Martinelli that he plants low into the back of the net. Simple looking goal, but if you look closely at the goal, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. First of all, Kiwior does a fantastic job at blocking. So all the Villarreal players get drawn towards the near post because that's where most of the runners go. And then when they realise the ball's going over their head, they turn around and they try to get to the far post where Norgard's deliberately loitered at that far stick. Well, Kiwior's not having it. He's blocking his man very, very nicely indeed, causing a problem for him. And what happens then is Mikel Merino sees it and he joins in. So together they tag team and make sure that the 2 retreating players that could have put a bit of pressure on Christian Norgard can't get there. It's not a foul. It's just good box management is how I would describe it. They just put their bodies in the way of the defenders. They can't get there. Norgard, to his credit, keeps his eye on the ball and plants that header very, very nicely. The other set piece that I did want to mention is long throws. We saw last season Thomas Partey chuck a few long throws into the box, particularly in that PSG game where we did it over and over and over again. And in the first half of this match, Kiwior was charged with the task of putting those long throws into the box. It's not a super long throw. It's not a world record level, but it's a long enough throw to be considered long, and it could bear fruit for us on occasion. But having seen it in action last night, I'm not convinced that it's something we want to do as a matter of course. I think you'd have to choose the opponents and the game state maybe before doing that every single time. The concern for me, and you might not have seen this if you watched the game on TV, but being there, you could see the whole pitch. And obviously Villarreal brought everybody back for those long throws, but they left their striker up front. So basically it was a 1v1. There was no one within 30, 40 yards of Saliba and the Villarreal striker. Now, if that throw comes in and they clear it to the striker, it's a 1v1. And that could be a problem moving forward. So, long throws, a work in progress, I would suggest. And I certainly wouldn't want to see it as a matter of course. I quite like the quick throws, get the ball down and play. And we've got in more than enough quality inside the final third to make things happen from those situations. Let's talk about some of the new faces. I guess we have to talk about Viktor Gyokeres. Felt a little bit sorry for him. He worked really, really hard. He made a lot of runs in the game. He pressed with real enthusiasm, but he was sort of a nearly man. He almost got on the end of a lot of crosses in the first half. I think the timing of his runs, the timing of the crosses will definitely sharpen up as the days and weeks go by, and they'll just get used to one another. I think it was clear that they hadn't really played together before because he's a player, Gyokeres, that wants to run down the side of central defenders, and I don't think that we played the right passes to him often enough. There was one really big moment that stood out to me actually, and that was where we turned the ball over. It was in the early part of the second half. Gabriel Martinelli didn't win the tackle. I can't remember who won the tackle. It falls to Martinelli and he's away on one of those counters. And I'm screaming, look up, play him in. Because Gyokeres had made a beautiful run into the left channel and he took an extra touch and it didn't happen. Slip him in there and Gyokeres is away. I'm not saying he scores, but he's away and he's going to cause a problem. And I would say there were 3 or 4 instances that were similar to that. The one highlight, I guess, for Gyokeres was just before he came off, where Merino did see the run and he played the pass. Lovely little slip pass. into the box for Gyokeres. He made a left to right run. Good shot on target. The angle was tight. It wasn't easy to score, but it was a good contact. And yeah, that is really in essence what he's about. In the first half, towards the end as well, a couple of really nice pieces of footwork inside the box. He's a good drop of the shoulder. He beat his man and then he had a shot blocked. Did the same, then took it past his man onto his left foot to cut the ball back. So he looked powerful, he looked strong, but he really didn't have any quality chances at all. And the service into him must and will absolutely get better. So don't get too down on Gyokeres. Don't get too down on the team for maybe not suiting his style of play. That will come, I guarantee it. But it might not. It might take a few weeks. Certainly, a lot more training sessions to get into the groove. I think Norgard. Let's just quickly mention him. I think he's obviously scored his goal. I think he was neat and tidy. He mopped up a few things. He got around the pitch. He was aggressive. I think he can be pleased with his performance. All I say for him is, could he get on the ball a little bit more and prompt and dictate? Because that's what we saw from Zubimendi in the second half. He demands the ball a little bit more than Norgard. Give it to me. And he kept the ball moving a little bit quicker. And I think the thing watching Zubimendi in the flesh at Emirates Stadium in our kit for the first time was just how nimble he is. You know, he gets across the turf much quicker than the guys that were there last season. Not too many eye-catching passes, but a lot of balls, early ones into teammates. He didn't shy away from getting onto the ball at all. In terms of positives, let's talk about what went okay. I think Ben White and Bukayo Saka in the first half can hold their heads up high. White, for me, has been one of the best players in pre-season. Really assertive, winning the ball back, either intercepting it or winning challenges, making runs on the outside, which I think are massive this year. I think we've got to have more from our fullbacks inside the final third. So him and Saka linked up really nicely. I thought Saka was positive, had a couple of great runs, skipped past his man on the outside in the first half, quiet at the start of the second, but and then he came off quite early. So that was a shame for him. But that combination looks good. I think the Merino worked really hard, got a couple of shots away. Nice runs down the left side early on in that left midfield berth to cut the ball back. He slipped Gyokeres in, remember. He was a handful, and I think that even though he was partially not to blame, but he would look back at the first goal and think, could I have done a bit better? I think other than that, he did pretty well. Ødegaard, I think, was really bright and bubbly as always when he came on. And the other positive is that Gabriel and Timber got game time, and it's a long time since they played. So I think that is certainly a positive. Stats, and we don't have loads of stats. I'm going to bring a lot of stats into this channel when the games start for real in the Premier League. But in terms of shots in this game, it was 17-8 for Arsenal. But the concern, I guess, is that it was 7 apiece on target. So Villarreal manufactured some good chances, and again, it's that defensive unit isn't quite there yet. It isn't quite in tune, and the tracking of runners certainly must get a little bit better moving forward. So yeah, 7 shots on target apiece. The possession split, it was 57% to 43%. A good test, for us to play a counter-attacking side. Loads of teams are going to come to Emirates this season and play that way. So it's better to get the issues out of the way now than then. But the one big positive stat for me was the touches inside the opposition box. Okay, you look at it and say, we only scored twice, but we had 50 shots, Arsenal. 50 touches inside the opposition box. Villarreal had 12. So, yeah, that tells the story of the game. So, lots of decent interplay, but not enough punch. Hopefully, that will come in the days and weeks to come. My main man, I'm going to share it. This one, I'm going to share main man. I think in the first half, Ethan Nwaneri was outstanding. Looks really comfortable on the ball, doesn't he? Playing in that Ødegaard role. He took it past Villarreal players so beautifully on 2 or 3 occasions. Really smooth, drop a shoulder, gone. Covering the ground with real purpose. And then trying to make good decisions at the end of it. He slipped Saka in behind into the box on one occasion. I thought he looked very, very bright, had a couple of shots. set pieces could have been a little bit better, but one area I thought it was an eye-catching first half performance from him, and then in the second half it was Max Dowman again, who comes off the bench and just electrifies the whole stadium really with his quick feet, with the way that he runs at players. I mean, so quick to get to the byline, to take it past this man, to get to the byline, to cut the ball back or shoot or cross. He looked so sharp. He looked so nimble on his feet, beautifully balanced. Yeah, terrific from him. And of course, he wins the penalty again. Won a penalty over in Singapore, wasn't it, against Newcastle? Wins a penalty here. Waits for the defender. Little Cruyff turn, bash, little trip. So look, how often we see him in first team action in the Premier League, we'll have to wait and see. But when he does get game time as an impact sub, Max Dowman is going to cause problems. And he could well win plenty of penalties for Arsenal moving forward. So they were the two stars of the show for me. In conclusion, I would just say don't get too down. Look, it's training. I think the Arsenal players probably would have trained in the morning. A lot of them trained after the game as well last night. It is all about training at the moment. So don't get too down on the fact that Arsenal weren't perfect, that Arsenal made mistakes in this game, that the connection between players and Viktor Gyokeres wasn't quite as it needs to be. There is still time, and I'm absolutely convinced it will come. And of course, defending those open spaces has to be better, and I'm pretty sure it will be better moving forward. So yeah, lots to work on, but it's not all doom and gloom. Don't worry too much. Hopefully we get a confidence boosting win and a slightly improved performance against Athletic Bilbao in the Emirates Cup at the weekend. I'll be back to review that, no doubt at all. Thanks so much for all the support on the channel. I'm loving the messages, so keep them coming. I'll try to interact with you as best I can. Thanks to all of you that subscribed so far. I'm really enjoying it. And hopefully we'll be talking about more Arsenal victories moving forwards. Bye for now.